Hey YouTube family, this is Courtney. I'm back again with another quick video I want to share with you all. And this video is going to be basically talking about starting over and how we need to kind of change our perspective on when we think about starting over in something, and really understand that there's beauty. There's a beautiful thing in starting over in whatever area of your life that you need to start over in. There's beauty there. At some point in life, we all have to face where we have to start over. We don't want to, but we have to. Either it's by choice or life forces is there. For an example, we may have been on a job for so long, and all of a sudden we may do something to get fired, and we have to resign from our position, or the company may leave and relocate, or they may just completely shut down. We now have to find another source of income by starting over, meaning that we have to go to the unemployment office, filling out applications, standing in that line, and sometimes even go to the extent of filling out an application for public assistance just so that we can survive and keep roof over our heads and clothes on our back and food on the table for self and our family. So that's one. And then when we think about that, it's like, okay, I have to start over. Like, I've been so consistent on this job for so long. Now I got to start over. It sucks. Another example of starting over is if you're a student in class, or whether it's a grade school or secondary education, and there's just a subject that you can't quite grasp, or it's kind of difficult for you to understand, and you're like, oh my God, like, I have to get this, but I don't quite get it. And then it could be because we just not grasping the information. It could be a numerous of things, and we don't pass the grade. We don't get the grade to pass, so we end up failing. We have to take the class over again. We have to start over. It sucks. Or half the time, if we could just be honest, we probably don't put in forth the effort to grasp the information on a particular subject to pass. So that's another reason why, that we may have to start over in life. And another reason is in a relationship, a marriage that, was hopefully that we could have stayed in there for a long time. We've gotten comfortable with it. We are familiar with the ups and downs of it. Even though if we knew that it was toxic, it was not fulfilling, we were not getting anywhere with this particular relationship, the fact that we were familiar with it, we stayed, we settled, we compromised probably way more than we should have. And now that the relationship of so many years, or the marriage of so many years, is now had failed and crumbled for whatever reason, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, now I have to start over. I have to start over and learning how to do things with and for myself. I'm learning, I have to start over in knowing that I'm going to bed at night by myself, that the life that I once knew with a significant other is no more. And even starting over when you want to start dating, it's like, I have to get familiar with another person again. I have to learn them all over again. They have to learn me. So it sucks that I have to start over something that I had that was promising, so I thought, and now it's like, gosh, now we have to start over. Like, that could really suck. So that's another thing when life throws our way, where we feel that we have to start over. And also another one that I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with, and even myself, I'm so guilty of this, is the diet and exercising. We would start out good, the first few weeks or maybe a good month, and we would eat healthy, drink our water. We'll exercise daily, or 2 to 3 times a week, or however many times that we promised ourselves that we would. And we were so consistent with it, but we fall weak, we get sidetracked, we get distracted. We are in Publix, and I'm guilty, and I go past the bakery aisle, and I'm seeing this cupcake that's just calling my name, so it's like, oh, I gotta have it. I end up getting it. Or another thing that I'm real guilty of is those late night snacks, when I'm just in the bed reading a book, or on the phone running my mouth, or watching a movie. It's like I go grab something and just start eating it. Before I know it, I'm like, oh, I sat here and ate this whole bag of chips. Dang, I didn't have no water, nothing, just devouring it, just gluttony. And so I'm saying, like, okay, now I have to really start over, because I let it go on for so long and gain this weight back. I feel sluggish. I just don't feel, I just feel blah. So I have to start over again. And I hate it. So it's like I got to get up the next day and just like hit the pavement, hit that cardio, hit that healthy eating all over again. I have to start over. And all that hard work that I did for that month is just basically thrown out the window. So I have to start over. So there were some things in life where we feel that we have to, that forces us to start over in life. You know, of course, there's a lot other things, but those are just some of the things where we have to kind of are forced to start over, and we don't like it. We don't like having to start over because it makes us, so we may feel at that moment regress and push back and having to do the whole thing over again, and it's not a good feeling. It just sucks. So I thought, and I thought like that for a long time. So I used to hate starting over. That's why I used to just settle and compromise and just be okay with mediocrity, being mediocre, because I didn't want to start over. I didn't want to have to put in the effort. I didn't want to have to fight. I didn't want to have to struggle. I didn't want to have to deal with anything else. At least, you know, I'm familiar with this crap or whatever, this particular issue or whatever. So I just stayed and I put up with it. But it got to the point when I'm just like, okay, enough is enough. You know, maybe starting over is not a bad thing. Maybe it is beauty in this. And when I began to just really analyze it and really look into it, I'm like, yeah, it is beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. There's a beautiful thing in starting over, but it also depends on how you look at it. You know, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Starting over is a beautiful thing. And I'm going to just share with you 3 ways to change your perspective on looking at starting over, because it is a beautiful thing. It's not all bad. For one, when we think about starting over is like grace and mercy. It is renewed for you. You get another chance at getting it right. You get another chance at learning how to maneuver through the situation. It gives you another chance to finally win at whatever it is that you failed at. So it's not necessarily a bad thing when you think about of a particular subject that you may have been struggling in. It gives you a chance to sit back and analyze, where did I go wrong? What is it that I'm not understanding? Do I need to get outside help outside of the classroom of the teacher? Do I need to maybe request another teacher who can teach it to me a different way, or a tutor, so that I can really grasp it? Or look at myself, analyze myself. Did I put in the appropriate time to get the information? Did I study? Did I get a study group? Did I get any type of particular help to help me to pass it? So it gives me another chance, not just to pass the grade, but to really understand what is being taught to me. So it allows me another chance, even in a relationship. You know, starting over, it's not all a bad thing. It gives me a chance to analyze again, taking accountability for my actions. Yes, he or she had their issues and they did their dirt or what have you, but take your power back in that situation. Make it about yourself. What is it that I did wrong? What is it that I could have done differently? You know, what is it that I could have said or reacted in a certain way that probably could have decreased some of the argument or the trigger points that cause us to get into this point where we're not together. So it gives you a second chance to analyze yourself and to get it right. So that's one of the steps, one of the things that's beautiful about starting over. And another thing, which brings me to my second step, my second thing, is starting over really allows you to grow. It really allows you to grow, because here you are in this situation and you're like, it's pretty much me, myself, and I. Yes, I have outside source, I have outside help, but at the end of the day, it's about me. It gives me a chance to reflect on my inner being, what's going on with me, what happened, where did I miss the mark, how can I start over? And then it forces you also to put in the work. Put in the necessary work that you need to accomplish whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Put in the necessary work to realize that, okay, I'm not a consistent person, or I get distracted easily. That's why, or I'm not as motivated as I once thought I was, or what were my true motives as to doing something like diet and exercise. Was I just trying to get skinny or small to fit in a dress or to look like everybody else, or was I genuinely concerned and really wanting to have a healthier life? You know, when we change our attitude about certain things, our approach is different. You know, as for me, I can speak for me. When I first started out dieting, exercising, it was just because I didn't want to look a certain way. I wanted to be smaller. I didn't want to have, you know, a big gut. That was just my thing. It was superficial reasons for me in the beginning. So that's why when I started, I would be consistent for a moment, but then it was just like I got easily distracted, or I used to lie to myself and say, well, you know, I worked out all week, so it's not gonna hurt for me to have a cupcake, and then one cupcake turns into two, and two to three. So it's just kind of like, I'm just like, oh, forget it, I'm starting over again. But when I changed my perspective on it, it's just like, you know what, flat stomach, abs, whatever, it'll come if it comes. If not, oh well. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to be healthy. I just wanted to not have any type of health issues. Diabetes run in my family, and I was actually diagnosed with that. And after I completely did a total 360 in my diet and exercising, I no longer have it. Excuse me. And also by the grace of God, thank you, that I no longer have it. So, and even to this day, it's like second nature. I don't want to eat certain things, or if I do eat it, it's in very moderation. It's in small dosage, and it's spaced out. So I don't just indulge in it on a daily basis. So that's what it gave me. It gave me a chance to grow and to analyze myself in some of the ways that I was, and some of those thoughts process that I was having. You know, even in a failed relationship, you know, it gave me a chance to grow, to kind of like reflect the mirror on me and say, hey, you know, Courtney, what did you do wrong? You know, where were your flaws? Where were your errors? And a lot of times we don't want to take that initiative to do that. But and at first, in the beginning, I wanted to blame everything on him, but it was just like, you know, I had to take responsibility for me, and that's the only thing I can be accountable for is for me, and be like, okay, you could have did this different, you could have said this different, you could have acted in this way different, or whatever. And then it made me search a little deeper to say, okay, what was the root cause to those, why I acted a certain way? And it helped me, and it forced me to work on those things: fear, insecurity, doubt, you know, low self-esteem, those things that I was dealing with, and it made me work on them so that I can be a better version of myself. So it forced me to grow. So in the fact that I had to start over, it wasn't all a bad thing, because I've learned how to take my power back and flip it and make it work for me to my benefit. So it's not all a bad thing. So starting over allows you to grow. If you take the proper initiative and be honest and open with yourself, it will help you grow. So it's not always a bad thing. And then the third thing is the beauty in starting over is that it will allow you to surpass your expectations of what you thought you wanted, and what you had a vision of what it could be. For an example, when starting over, like with dieting and exercising, or even in my schooling, you know, I'm in college now, and a lot of times, you know, I always just settled for just getting by. So when I realized that, okay, you know, this is something that I love, something that I'm compassionate about, it forced me, you know, I was just in some of my classes that were kind of tough. I was just like, okay, if I get an 80, I'm fine. But it's just like, why would you want to settle for that when you know that you're so much greater than just that? So it forced me to having to start over. When I failed a particular thing, it motivated me to go even harder, so I can try to get an A, like, and the highest A that I can get. And it did. It made me put in the extra work, put in the extra time, the extra dedication, sacrificing some things. I didn't always was able to go out when I wanted to go out, wasn't able to do certain things because I was dedicated on excelling and going higher. So even though I wanted to be, by me putting in that extra work and the extra time, dedication, and studying, I was able to come out on top and actually getting an A, to where those A's were able to open up different scholarships for me that I was available to get, and also being on different honor societies. So I wasn't expecting all that, but by me putting in that extra work, it allowed me to surpass where I thought what I thought I wanted, and where I'm at now. So it's a good thing. So of course we can go on with a lot others as far as starting over, but those are just some of the 3 that I can come up with that works for me, that is working for me, that I can think of. But if we just learn how to embrace situations when they come that forces us to start over, it's not always a bad thing. There's so much beauty in starting over. It doesn't mean that this is the end goal for you, that this is the end of the road. There have been a lot of times where, you know, if you can hear a lot of people who are successful now, that they did not get successful overnight. They had a lot of failed attempts, but because they were true to themselves and they were very honest and open and had embraced their vulnerable moments to look at areas in their life where they needed to grow, needed to elevate, needed to put in the work, they were able to tackle that thing again and that time win. And I was listening to some music earlier today, and I was listening to Fantasia, Lose to Win. It's like sometimes you have to lose in order to gain again, in order to win. So it doesn't mean that just because this relationship failed that all of your relationships are going to fail. It doesn't mean because you failed at one area in your life that every time this particular thing comes about you're going to fail. That particular failing, or that when you in your life, is acts as a stepping stone so that you can use it to elevate yourself, to go higher and to go deeper, so that you can be the best version of yourself. So starting over, if you have to start over, even if you have to start over to the point where you are walking away from a situation where it's just you and your clothes in your bag, which is you or your kids, or you may have to step away or start over to where you were once here and you're down here, you have to work your way back up. Just know that you can surpass where you once were. So it's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. You just have to be able to put in the work, be dedicated, be honest and open with yourself, and I promise you will get it. So I hope and pray that this video was helpful for you, and to just kind of like change your perspective on starting over. It's not always a bad thing, and it's not a bad thing. It depends on what type of lens you're looking at it through. So take what you need from this video, tweak it, add some things, take some things out, use what you can use, and if it doesn't work for you, it's all good too. But I do pray that you will just learn how to embrace your failed moments in life and look at them as a blessing to start over, so that you can get it right, and love yourself enough to know that you deserve the best. And so if you didn't give yourself the best that last time, just know that you are going to love yourself enough this time around to give it your all, so that you can finally win, and you will. Continue to keep the faith, keep God first, continue to be positive, be motivated, and encourage yourself and be your biggest cheerleader. And I promise you that those particular failed moments and those areas in your life where you had to start over, if you put in the work, and I'm a living witness that if you put in the work, you will not only win, but you will surpass where you thought that you were going to win at. So again, I pray this video is a blessing to you, and remember to always love yourself, love on yourself, and keep that positive vibe high, and so that you can attract those things that you deserve. And remember that self-love is truly the best love.